If you ask what is the best way to get a bigger and stronger pair of shoulders, most people will tell you to do the overhead press. And most people will also tell you that the best way to go about it is the barbell overhead press. In fact, a lot of people will swear that this is the only exercise you need for a big and round pair of shoulders. Well, in today's video, I want to tell you why they're wrong and show you why the best way to do the overhead press is with the kettlebell. Now let's get one thing out of the way. To build a strong and muscular pair of shoulders, you need to do heavy overhead pressing, regardless of what you use, whether it's the barbell, dumbbells, or kettlebells. So whatever tool you use, you need to be able to execute the exercise safely under a heavy load. This is probably the most important factor to consider that leads to the kettlebell as being the best way to do the overhead press, and it all has to do with its shape and weight distribution. If you've done heavy barbell overhead presses, you know that it's not the most natural pressing movement. The barbell overhead press is a technically challenging exercise that needs a lot of practice to do it safely and exposes you to a lot of injury risks, especially when you're going heavy. You have to clear your head off the bar's vertical path as you press it up, which means most people will end up hyperextending their back and neck momentarily until the bar clears. And once you go heavy, you tend to compromise your spine by bending it as you press the bar up. Now you can talk about proper technique all you want, like keeping your back straight, maintaining a straight bar path, elbow position, grip width, but you know that once you go heavy, those things tend to go out the window. I mean, the fact that you have to watch out for all those things should tell you that it's not really an intuitive movement pattern. Many people also don't have the shoulder mobility to extend the arms straight up without leaning back, which adds yet another prerequisite to this exercise. And finally, the setup itself. Again, let's not talk about using an empty bar or a few lightweight plates. If we're working with decently heavy weight, it's not easy to do a barbell clean to get the bar from the floor to your shoulder level. The barbell clean is a whole world of its own, and it's a very technically demanding exercise. If you want the best way to set up the barbell overhead press safely, you'll need a squat rack to hold the bar at the right starting height. Now let's talk about the dumbbell overhead press. The good thing about the dumbbell is that you don't need to move your head and neck out of the way when you press it upwards. But there are two major drawbacks with the dumbbell overhead press. The first is its weight distribution. The dumbbell's weight is aligned with your hand, above your wrist, which creates a rather unstable position. You have to be careful and stabilize the weight with your wrist, because the load is located above its support point. Your wrist joint is capable of full 360 degrees rotation, so it ends up looking something like this. The second downside of the dumbbell press is the setup. Unlike the barbell, there isn't really a way for you to set up heavy dumbbells on a squat rack or something similar, so most of the time you have to pick it up from the floor or from the dumbbell rack. Now the best way to do it is the seated version, because you can rest the dumbbells on your thighs and kick them up to your shoulder height. But again, it still gets pretty wobbly, unstable, and unsafe. If you've tried to do this with heavy dumbbells, you'll know what I'm talking about. So finally, the kettlebell overhead press. Now I know what you must be thinking. This is a bodyweight and kettlebell channel, so of course I'm going to favor the kettlebell. But hear me out for a moment and believe me that I'm being totally objective with my assessment of these different tools based on my personal experience. Believe it or not, overhead pressing with the kettlebell feels very well balanced because most of the weight is below your wrist, unlike the dumbbell. This means that the kettlebell sits well in your hand and you can press it up with as much brute force as possible without having to worry about balancing it. This is especially true when using really heavy weight. If you don't believe me, try it out yourself using a heavy dumbbell and a kettlebell of the same weight. The kettlebell press up has none of the issues that the barbell or the dumbbell has. And to top it off, it has the best setup. You don't need any supporting equipment like a squat rack. You just have to pick it up from the floor into your shoulder rack position by way of the kettlebell clean. You will always be able to do this because you will always be able to clean more weight than you can press, since you use your whole body to clean the kettlebell and only your shoulders, for the most part, to do the overhead press. This is a very safe and stable position, and there's no need for any special wrist or shoulder mobility to be able to do this. You can simply clean the kettlebell into your rack safely where it sits comfortably on your arm and shoulder. There's zero instability involved, and your wrist is not placed in a risky and compromised position. So if you've always been doing overhead presses with the barbell or dumbbells, you should give the kettlebell a try. You can do single presses, double presses, kneeling press, or even a jerk press. They all feel generally better and more natural, especially as you get heavier compared to their barbell and dumbbell counterpart. If you enjoyed the video, please leave a thumbs up and subscribe to help me continue to improve my videos. If you're looking for a free workout program that you can do at home just with kettlebells and bodyweight exercises, check out the link below. As always, thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.